All right, this time last week, we got started with a very interesting, procedure, I guess we'd have to say. Joe Proya from Guarenteed Home Mortgages with us. And this was a great idea. I don't know whose idea it was, whether it was yours, Pat, or yours, Joe, of doing an actual refinance on the air. And we get started last week with all the basic questions. And before we find out where Pat is at in terms of his ability to refinance his home at a much more favorable rate, let's kind of recap some of the stuff we did last week.
Absolutely. Well,
good to see you again, by the way.
Good to see you guys. Yeah. Thanks for having me back. Well, I think it was a mutual decision to come on the air and talk about this, more of an educational process for our team here, as well as for all the listeners on the air as well. Pat, we discussed a couple things last week as far as what his goals was. He's been in his home for a couple of years. They've had a mortgage that was taken out, and they wanted to revisit some options on saving some money. Why not? Rates are the best they've been. That's what everyone's advertising. And how does it apply to him? We got some information we gathered as far as, how long he actually has been in his mortgage. He had a 5% interest right now, which we know rates are better. We figured out, his goal, I guess, was a short-term goal, more to save money, obviously, as the business is moving. And, what we did is we took some pertinent information, obviously, off air last week, but we went back to our office and we got to figure out some information. We validated the income. We can go up to about a 55% debt to income, which is a little more loose than a typical bank.
That is.
So, depending on it,
55% debt to income.
Yep.
So for every, I'm trying to put that
every
into dollars
dollar
and
you
cents.
make, 55 cents of it has to go out to credit liabilities. That's going to be your mortgage, your taxes, your insurance, and any other credit liability on your credit report.
And up to that point, I'm good. If I have 60 or 65 cents on the dollar for debt, then we got to revisit this. Is that what you're saying?
Right.
Okay.
Right. We may look at doing a debt consolidation loan.
I'm out
to reduce that down, and that's part of the process.
Gotcha.
We're fine. Obviously, met all the income requirements that we were looking for. Credit wise, perfect credit, Pat.
Gee, thanks.
Really?
Very untraditional these days, but not that that's necessary.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I did want to touch on that too. Although obviously things today are driven credit-wise for sure. Yeah. We do go down to a 640 credit score, so it's not necessary that you have perfect credit. And these days, it's very untypical that one does.
I hear these credit scores. What is the top credit score you can get?
850.
850. Okay, and so 650 is acceptable.
640 is acceptable.
640?
We actually have some common sense programs that go down to 560, but then there's accompanying requirements.
When you get down to my SAT scores, that's when when we're in trouble.
I was just going to say, I'm glad you brought up the credit score, because a lot of consumers, a lot of people that are looking to buy, they don't know what their score is, if it's good or bad. I asked you to bring my score up because I didn't know if it was good or bad. I hadn't visited that in years.
Right.
So that's why I think a lot.
Can we say what his is? Do you mind?
No, I don't mind
curious.
that. I don't mind that.
What is it?
He's over a 740 credit score.
Thank you. Wow. Bam.
We'll call that A tier in our world.
Yeah. Man, you must love to see people like him coming along.
Monograms and everything.
Yeah.
So for all the creditors out there.
Yeah.
And as for what we're determining for Pat, it's a conventional loan, but there are government programs out there that there is no pricing differences between a 640 credit score and actually an 800 credit score with an FHA, a VA, or a USDA loan.
Okay.
That's more informational purposes.
So you don't have to fall into the perfect Pat Coin world to get a refi.
Absolutely not.
You'll work with folks who want to come by and see what they can do and try to make it work.
Listen, and if we can't do something today, we'll help create a plan and put somebody on a path where they can accomplish that goal, whether it's home ownership or whether it's saving $100, $200, $300 a month in monthly savings.
All right, well, let's do this. Let's take a break, and when we come back, we will find out where Pat is at, whether he's going to be able to get his refi, and we'll continue with Joe Proya for Guarenteed Home Mortgage. You nervous, Pat?
Not as bad as I was last week, because last week felt a little bit more difficult, to put it nicely. Yeah.
Well, good. Hopefully we'll have good news. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. This is Property Source Radio till 10 o'clock. Sports Radio 950 ESPN.